Okay. It's recording, is it? Yeah. Hello, my name is Hashim, by the way.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you are Paul
Yeah.
from the States?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we spoke to a lot of Trinitarians here, Christians, and I believe you come from the LDS background, which is the Latter-day Saints.
Sure,
Yeah, but I know you don't want to take that position, but
Yeah.
you're free to take whatever position you feel comfortable with.
Sure.
Okay? So what would be your position if I asked you about the existence of God?
I would say, for the sake of this conversation, I'll say I'm agnostic, leading to maybe he does not exist.
Okay, and why is that?
I think it's a matter of the burden of proof. So
Okay.
I think the burden of proof is on people like you, who are making a claim that's not inherently or inevitably immediately evident. So
Right.
if you claim the existence of a God who's not obviously seen, then the question just becomes a matter of proof on your position.
Fair enough. So when we talk about God, let's start with the term itself.
Sure.
What comes to your mind?
I guess it depends on the context. And I think,
Well, in the context of religion, of course.
yeah, what comes to mind is the kind of probably the Abrahamic definition of like an all-powerful creator
Yeah.
of the universe, an all-powerful creator of the universe. is what
Okay.
I'd say.
And do you think he's physical like you and me?
Do I personally think that?
Well, based on what you read, because I know you come from a particular background. So based on your orientation, based on your whatever you have studied, based
Yeah.
on
If he exists, I guess I don't know.
okay,
Yeah.
and that is important. You know why?
Why?
Because you said I think one of the criteria for your belief in God would be to see Him. Am I right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because you mentioned that, I picked that up.
But proof.
Yeah. So what kind of proof would convince you God exists? Have you got a criteria?
Well, I wonder if an all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful creator God wanted me to believe, he'd probably know exactly how to make me believe.
No, but
So
you.
I don't know if I could define it, but
Yeah.
if the conception of God that we're discussing is true, then I don't know if I need to know how he'd make it.
No, but
how
if
he'd
you're,
make it known,
you know,
but
for
he
you
could make it known.
for you to believe or disbelieve something,
Yeah.
you need a certain criteria, right?
Sure.
For example,
An
if I told,
everyday item.
yeah, exactly. If
Yeah.
I told you there was a ghost standing behind you,
Yeah.
and you would say, "Show me proof."
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you have some idea in your head what a ghost looks like,
Sure.
saying unless you see that, I don't know, that shape or that form, you're saying that's not a ghost. That's just a man. Okay, you see. So that's what I'm saying. When you talk about God, when you talk about the metaphysical, yeah, for any person to seek empirical evidence is I think is a wrong approach. Do you agree?
How so?
Because when you're talking about the metaphysical, yes, this is
Yeah.
something beyond the naturalistic science. So for
Yeah.
example, the science will tell you that there are things that you cannot perceive and see other than from a subjective view. For example, your consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So science, I don't know if you heard of this phrase, it's called the hard problem of consciousness,
Yeah.
which means they cannot give you empirical evidence for it,
Yeah.
but they cannot also disbelieve in it.
Sure.
You see what I mean? So this is a problem of science in itself. Why I call it a problem from science? Because it's a limitation of science.
Yeah.
Science stops with things which you can perceive, you can see, you know, things from the naturalistic world. But anything that is beyond that, that is beyond its scope. So I think when you start saying that I'm looking for evidence of God, then surely, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking for something which is empirical. Am I right?
What's your what reason do you have to believe that there's anything beyond the natural?
I just gave you an example, the consciousness.
What reason do you have to believe that's not of the natural world?
Well, prove to
Because
me.
the evidence right now, I agree with you that it's still a mystery,
Exactly.
scientifically.
Yeah. But they believe it.
But, well,
With certainty. They believe it
Sure.
with certainty,
but
regardless of the evidence.
The evidence so far
Yeah.
indicates pretty heavily that it has something to do with the brain.
No, but can you prove
Right.
that objectively?
No, but that's the development right now.
What do you mean development? You think
That's-
science will ever
That's
find
our
out?
understanding. Well, your position seems to be predicated on the idea that it's a God of the gaps fallacy in a way, because you're saying that which we do not know must be God.
No, but you're
Right.
using the gap of the science, that maybe science will find out one day.
Yeah, well,
maybe
that's-
it'll never.
That's so true.
That's a gap of science then.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But you're making, like I said at the beginning, it's a matter of the burden of proof.
No,
And
but-
so if the burden of proof lies in your position,
But what I'm saying is that before the proof,
Yeah.
before science already discovered consciousness objectively
Yeah.
as empirical evidence, they already believe it. That's what I'm telling you.
okay.
You see what I mean?
But what about, so you have something like germ theory. Before germ theory exists, people assume that what's making people sick is a curse from God or a demonic spirit in a body, right?
Yeah.
And then germ theory is found.
What's that going to do with science?
And then all of a sudden, you have something that was assigned to the realm of God.
Yeah.
And then science came in, and
No, I'm talking about consciousness.
Right.
I'm not even using God right now in the example that I gave
we'll
you.
get to consciousness,
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm saying the scientists, all of them, brother. Sorry, brother. We are recording here.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. He didn't know we were recording.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that all the scientists. Do you know anyone who doesn't believe that they are conscious?
I think Hume had questions about it. David Hume.
What? That he believed that he wasn't conscious.
I think he had questions about whether the individual self exists, right? But for the sake
Hold on,
of
uncle. Can you guys please go there? Thank you. It's become an argument. He's normally a nice guy. Sorry about that. Yeah.
For the sake of this conversation, I'll say consciousness probably exists.
By the way, Hume wasn't a scientist. You know that.
Yeah.
I asked, do any scientists
Yeah.
confirm that they are not conscious? Or they all accept and acknowledge that they're conscious?
You're playing a dangerous game because I can find a scientist who will say just about anything.
Okay, give me a scientist's name then.
Well, I don't know any
Exactly.
scientists personally.
Look, you and I both
Yeah.
know that a scientist wouldn't be able to say that without being conscious. You see what I mean?
Sure.
So if they said, I don't believe in consciousness, for them to utter that itself proves that they're conscious.
But I think, and I
See what I
hope-
mean?
I hope I'm not.
That's why it's a hard problem of
Sure.
consciousness.
I hope I'm not disrespecting you if I say that you're making a mistake in the beginning of your argument.
How?
Because you're saying that you're predicating our entire conversation on whether or not consciousness exists, and you feel confident in saying that the consensus is that it does exist. But the mistake I would argue that you're making is that just because consciousness exists does not in any way indicate that God exists.
No, I'm saying they're both metaphysical. So if you can believe one metaphysical without evidence,
But you're saying,
Paul, you need to understand. I'm using a standard which
Yeah.
is the same. So this is not equivocating here.
Yeah.
It's actually using the same standard of metaphysics, which I told you is beyond the scope of science. So for you even to say that science one day will discover it, even the gap of science doesn't work here. The reason for that is because the scientists all throughout the world and all throughout history,
Yeah.
they will have to believe in consciousness without any empirical evidence.
what?
The reason for that is because every question that they ask and every experiment they perform is predicated on their consciousness. Without being conscious, they cannot perform any of those actions. Do you agree?
Well, I'd say that. What do you think of Descartes' "I think, therefore I am"?
Yeah, that's his definition of consciousness. That's
Sure.
all it is.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
that it's definitional,
Yes.
somewhat.
Okay, because I actually agree with that definition.
Right.
I have no issues with that.
Right.
Okay, because in order for you to think,
Yeah.
you need to be conscious.
Sure.
See what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's no scientist who does not think, otherwise you wouldn't be a scientist.
Sure.
This is one of the main, I would say this is a primary character of a scientist, to think and to ponder and to ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay? So anyone who actually is a scientist will have no choice but to affirm that he's conscious.
Yeah,
Number two,
sure.
it is metaphysical, so
Yeah.
they are actually affirming it without any evidence, any empirical evidence, which is again comes in the realm of naturalistic science, because for them is to explain how things are, and for that they obviously have to perceive it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in order to find empirical evidence for something, they need to, research. They need to obviously see evidence for it. They need to observe it. They need to measure it.
Yeah.
Okay, and the problem with consciousness is that you cannot actually go to the lab and do any of those actions. So they have to believe it by faith.
Yeah. Okay. What's your reaction when you see experiments like, I think it's out of Stanford, where stimulating different parts of the brain
Yeah.
forces you to make a decision or forces you to have a thought?
Forces you to make a decision.
these are-
Give me an
these are-
example.
So it'll be, they've been able to say, like, move your arm and grab the spoon. And I've, according to people who have had this experiment done to them and the evidence of the results of the experiment, it feels as though you are the one grabbing the spoon of your own free will. But it's just stimulants in the brain that are making you do this thing.
Okay.
So then you're saying that this consciousness, right? Would you say that free will is part of
No,
consciousness?
look, I have no problem in saying one of the seats of consciousness is your brain.
Sure.
Nothing wrong in that. But that still doesn't prove to me,
Yeah.
objectively, yeah? Of
Yeah.
course, everyone has their own subjective understanding of their own consciousness.
Sure.
For example, if I were to ask you about your emotions,
Yeah.
which again stems from your consciousness,
Yeah.
yes, you cannot confirm to anyone other than to yourself that this is how I feel as an emotion. For example, do you have a pet?
No.
No? Okay, so let's say you have siblings, yeah?
Yeah.
So if I were to ask, or your mother is going to ask you, okay, whom do you love more, your sister or me?
Yeah.
Yes? Now there's no way objectively you can prove that, right? You can say one answer, but you could be lying. You could say the answer, you could be telling the truth.
Yeah.
But nowhere you can prove it objectively. So there are many things which stem from your consciousness, yes, like emotions, which science will never be able to find out for certain. The reason is because it is something beyond the scope of naturalistic science. Now, with philosophy of science, you can use inference, okay? Because all humans are conscious, yes, when they perform certain actions, then they must be conscious.
Yeah.
Similarly, through inference, we can find out. So if I ask you the question, where did the universe come from? What would you say?
I'd say I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not an answer. That's appealing to ignorance.
But what if I'm ignorant on the subject?
Then you will say, I don't know. But that is still not an answer, though. But the
Well,
question...
it's an answer about you, because you in that question are inherently or implicitly asking about my subjective experience. So you're saying, because if I'm asking you any question that involves what do you think, then it's all it is your subjective experience with it.
Yeah, but I asked you for an answer, not your experiences, because
it
my
is an
experience...
answer. It is an answer because you're asking about my subjective experience.
Yeah, so my subjective experience and your subjective experience is always limited
Yep.
to many factors, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Even to our sight.
Yep.
For example, we can only see beyond whatever the horizon of the universe is at present.
Yep.
Yeah, it always changes, isn't it? So if you had the Hubble telescope, it was maybe here. If you had the James Webb telescope, it's maybe here.
Right.
Yeah. So as science advances, the further the horizon might get.
Yep.
But that still doesn't mean that the universe just popped into existence one day. See what I mean?
Right.
Because I think there is and this is quite, I think, universal, more axiomatic, I would say, that everything that begins to exist must have a cause.
Right.
Okay? Do you believe that the universe began to exist at one point?
I have no idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
because according to most scientists, most cosmologists,
Yeah.
yes, they say that based on background microwave radiations and so on, or even maybe redshift, they calculate about the expansion of the universe. So they say that at one point it must have been a singularity.
Yeah.
Which, the Big Bang theory and all that. So that is like the most accepted theory today
Yeah.
amongst the cosmologists, okay, about the early universe.
And you take that to be the beginning of the universe, or are you saying the universe is eternal?
So that is actually the effect. I'm looking for the cause.
Right.
Okay?
So, okay.
Because they know that it is not eternal. In fact,
Yeah.
they even give you a number of years. I think something like 13.8 billion years old,
Yeah.
which shows us that is not eternal.
Right.
So the question clearly,
Right.
when I ask you what is the origin, where did it come from,
Yeah.
then surely there must be a cause because it began to exist at one point. So there must be a cause.
Right. I think on matters of the beginning of the universe and
Yeah.
cosmology, I'd have to defer to people like Lawrence Krauss who are writing on the subject.
Yeah. What did he say?
What I wonder. Well,
By the way, Lawrence Krauss is not a
he's
cosmologist.
He's a physicist.
Yeah.
Or a quantum physicist.
Okay.
What I'm wondering is why must you, or why do you, or why do you feel compelled to make a claim of knowledge then? Because let's say for...
I'm using inference.
Well, let's say for a moment that I...
By the way, I haven't given you my answer yet.
Sure.
So you
right.
can't say I'm compelling based on any...
I may be looking ahead, but I think I can guess where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
just wondering-
not speculate.
Sure. I'm just wondering why claim knowledge? Why not appeal to ignorance?
Because of human nature. We're always looking for answers about things we don't know. And this is, again, from a very scientific perspective. So if you look at the philosophers, if you look at the scientists, they will not settle with I don't know. They wouldn't be very successful if they did that.
But
They're always pushing the boundary.
Right.
They're looking for answers, okay? And we can actually use logic and rationality and inference, because that is, again, the faculty of reasoning we have been, we have been given, we are blessed with. So what I'm saying...
But an honest scientist and a good scientist will not claim the knowledge before they've discovered the evidence.
I agree.
They're operating
I agree.
on a thesis,
Yes,
a theory.
yes, and that's how all science works.
Of course.
Okay, so every science they use hypothesis, then the hypothesis goes to the level of theory,
Yeah.
Okay, and this is how science works.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
But you've come to a conclusion.
I haven't given you my answer yet.
My question
Once
is-
again, you're speculating.
Sure. Okay. What's your answer then?
Okay, good. That's a better way.
Yeah.
Because you see, I wouldn't assume about you. So what I'm saying is using inference, what we can do is we can use deductive reasoning to rule out certain things. For example, if I were to ask you, did the universe come from nothing? What would you say?
I say I don't know.
Okay, does nothing exist?
I would say that something most likely exists.
Does nothing exist though?
I guess I don't know. How are you defining nothing?
Let's do that first then. Come
Sure.
on. What's nothing for you?
Well, you asked the question. I wonder if you define it for this context.
Fair enough. I would say nothing is the absence of everything.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Is the absence of
Absolute nothingness is the absence of absolute everything. Absence of everything.
Maybe a useful way to answer it for this conversation is that nothing does not exist because the universe exists.
If you want to call it that way, the end result is the same. It doesn't exist.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
So now we can, using inference, using reasoning, we can say because it doesn't exist, it cannot bring about something, like the universe. Fair enough?
Well, you're referring to the Kalam cosmological argument. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky subject.
It's a very reasonable, actually, argument.
Right.
Yeah, using reason, using faculty of reasoning, using logic, using
Yeah.
inference.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have already agreed that nothing doesn't exist. So if
Yeah.
something doesn't exist, there's no chance for it to bring about anything into existence.
I mean, let's,
By the way,
let's accept it for
Lawrence Krauss actually wrote a book about this, about nothing.
something from nothing.
Yes, and his nothing was actually something.
Yeah, that's the big critique of that.
So
book.
using your own scientists, I would say that even they will have to agree that using
Right.
absolute, I think I've read somewhere there's like 8 different categories of nothing. And the one which I'm talking about is the absolute nothingness, means absolute nothingness. Means it doesn't exist at all. Okay? So we can rule that out, that nothing cannot bring about something.
Yeah.
Okay? What about the universe itself? When it did not exist at one point, could it have brought about itself from nothing? From itself. So we already ruled out nothing.
Yeah.
So could the universe
Yeah.
give birth to itself, in simple terms?
I think there's more wiggle room on this than maybe we realize, but I'll say no for this conversation.
No, not for. I want to know what is the wiggle room, because I would like to learn from you if there was any.
Sure. Well, I'm hesitant to repeatedly give you the answer I don't know, and I'm willing to.
It's quite normal.
Down this path.
It's quite normal for agnostic and atheists
Right.
to repeat I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is being honest, by the way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold it against you,
Sure.
but I would at the same time say that is not an answer.
Right.
Okay?
Well, it's an answer about my subjective experience.
No, it's not an answer
which is
because
the
you're.
only, the only thing that I can answer.
Okay.
Right.
Let me give you an example
Please.
based on the I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's say you are writing a test.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And to every question you said I don't know.
Yeah.
How many marks you'll get?
0.
Why is that?
It's the wrong answer.
It's no answer.
Yeah.
Because you didn't give an answer.
But if I gave the wrong answer, I'd get 0 as well.
No, but that's not even a wrong answer. When you say I don't know, it's no answer.
But if it's a multiple choice test, I could answer wrong.
Yeah, but it wasn't. See, now you're twisting the analogy.
Okay, well, if I gave any answer and it was not the
If
specific
in
correct
multiple,
answer,
look, in
it's
multiple
all
choice,
wrong.
you could probably get it by luck. You could get a few answers correct. But I gave you,
But it's a written test.
Yeah, but now
I
you're-
could write the wrong answer.
my friend, you're twisting the analogy. Analogy is there for a reason.
I'm just playing in your space.
No, you're not, because I give you a
You-
test where it's written
Yep.
test.
Okay, written test.
Yeah,
I write
so-
the wrong answer.
Yeah. No, you said I don't know.
I'm giving you a different example.
Okay, so now
right?
look. You need to decide whether you give an answer or you're saying I don't know.
I'm saying that in option A, I write I don't know for every question. In option B, I write an answer for every question.
What do you mean
Both-
option A? Now you're using multiple choice again.
No. It says in example A. So that's one example.
Okay, so for that
And then-
example,
yeah.
fair enough.
And
So
then
for the examples that you say I don't know,
I
you
get
get 0
zero.
marks. That's
Over
fine.
here,
For the ones you give an
I
answer,
give an answer,
then you'll get some marks if it's right.
but I do every single one wrong.
Yeah,
and I'd still get
then
0.
look, in that case it'll be a wrong answer, but you still tried it.
I'd still get
It's
0.
still an attempted answer, right?
Yes, but it's
Okay,
still 0.
but one thing, no, but you see, I'll tell you the difference.
Surely you can concede that it's still 0.
Paul, I'll tell you why it's different.
Sure.
Because in I don't know, where you have answered I don't know, we both will be certain it'll be always 0.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Sure.
In the other one, where you attempted the answer,
Yeah.
but you gave every one of them wrong,
Yeah.
or maybe one of the parts your teacher thought that okay, he deserves some mark in there.
Yeah.
There's a possibility of you getting some mark.
Sure, there's
Okay,
a possibility.
but like I said, let's
Yeah.
not, analogies are for a reason.
Yeah.
So I want to know why you would say I don't know for the universe giving birth to itself, because what that means is like a mother giving birth to herself,
Yeah.
which is logically, rationally impossible.
I'm just appealing to the incredible expanse of the universe and the almost soul-crushingly small glimpse that we have into it. So I'm just saying I don't claim knowledge of how the universe at its most grand works. That's all I'm saying. When
No,
I
I'm
say I don't
not
know.
about the entire universe after it was created. I'm saying before.
Yeah.
Before it came into existence, because it didn't exist at all,
Sure.
which means that it could never bring about itself. See what I mean? There's no need to
right.
there's no need to wrestle about this. It's pretty straightforward, I would say.
I think I don't know.
Okay, if you want to hold on to that,
Yep.
yeah, but you still get a 0.
And if I answered wrong, what if you're wrong? You'll
Sorry?
still get a 0 too.
Which part of I'm doing? That's for you to prove.
Because I'm just saying, because you have elected to pick a side.
I'm saying a mother cannot give birth to herself.
I'm remaining agnostic on the issue. I'll get 0.
Yeah.
You're picking a side when
Yeah.
you could pick no side. And the overwhelming odds seem to be that you're just as wrong as I am.
No, actually the odds are against you because a mother cannot give birth to herself.
Okay.
You're saying there's a possibility a mother could
But-
give birth
but
to
this
herself.
is- but
See what I
this is
mean?
a-
That's called. Now you're just like, for the sake of argument, you're arguing.
But the Kalam argument is very interesting, so I want to continue. I don't want to get hung up on this moment. I want to hear you.
It's not about hung up. It's pretty black and white that a mother cannot give birth to herself. I really don't know why you're arguing when you have no answers to it. Because if you had a plausible answer, then I would entertain it. But you don't have any. You're still appealing to ignorance
Exactly.
and speculation.
I would claim no knowledge of the universe,
Good.
right?
Okay, but
So it's
we have
not-
already.
It's not.
No,
It's
no,
not
actually,
really an argument.
no. We have already agreed on one possibility that it
Sure.
couldn't come from nothing.
Yeah.
So what that implies is that there must be something, right?
I'll put it like this: if I had to bet and put money on it, I would say that you're right about the universe can't birth itself.
So you can, roundabout ways saying I'm right. That's fine with me,
Yeah.
as long as I'm right,
Sure.
and you understand.
Just for the
Yeah,
sake
yeah.
of this, let's progress.
You understand that because it cannot come from nothing, then logically, we know that there must be something to bring about the universe into existence. It cannot be itself. We have also discussed that. So now I'm asking you, can you think of any plausible answer as to what that something or someone would be?
I'm more interested in where you're going. I want to hear where you.
But I want to know your answers.
I've been doing a lot of talking. I just want to hear where you go.
Okay, so I'm saying yes, because it cannot come from nothing, then surely the only other option must be something. So I know it's pretty binary,
Sure.
okay, but I don't think of any other answer. I can't think of any other answer, and neither can you. But if you do, then let me know. So I'm saying that this has to, because the universe exists, and we all know that, yes, then surely there must be someone or something that brought it into existence, because for everything that has a cause, everything that begins to exist must have a cause.
Has to have a cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so your conclusion is a creator.
I'm saying there's a cause.
Right.
Okay.
A
Now this
first
cause,
mover.
I think that's good. If you want to agree with that, that's fine with me. Okay, let's say the first mover. Okay, which is the cause.
Sure.
Now the cause itself cannot be contingent on someone or something. Because this is a necessary characteristics of the first cause.
Okay.
Because if it did have someone before it, then you'll have the problem of infinite regress.
Yeah.
You heard of that, yeah?
Well, I'm curious. I'm just waiting to see how you're going to get around.
Around what?
Around the infinite regress in your answer.
Oh, I've just told you. The cause
Yeah.
has to be, because the term first cause itself
Right.
shows that it is not dependent
Sure.
or contingent on anything.
Yeah.
It has to be self-existing. Yes? It has to be self-sufficient, and it has to be eternal, I would say.
So if someone came to you and said, your God does not exist, but microwave particles do exist. So
They're part of the universe.
So instead of saying, okay, we need to find something that's eternal, and the universe is not eternal,
Yeah.
and you're saying there's a creator. What if someone came to you and they said, yes, there is something that's eternal, but it's akin to microwave particles?
Well, I would like to know what that eternal thing is.
Yeah.
Because microwave particles are actually part of the universe.
Right, but I'm saying something akin to it.
Now you're
right?
speculating again. I don't know, because if you give me a specific answer,
Right.
I can entertain
Well,
it.
it's a thought
If you're saying
exercise.
something,
I'm offering you a thought exercise.
Yeah, but your
to
thought
stretch
exp-
what you've presented to.
your thought
right?
experience includes something which is part of the universe. You cannot use something as a part of the universe
But in the same
to
way,
be the first cause.
In the same way you're asking me to imagine something outside the universe, I now ask you to imagine something outside of the
No, but
universe.
my inference makes sense. Yours doesn't,
How so?
because your inference is actually the part of the universe.
But
My question is about
You're getting hung up on my phrasing. Imagine.
Well, give me something else then.
Imagine something.
Give me an
that
imagination that I can use.
exists. Yeah.
Something
Imagine-
outside the universe.
Sure.
Go on.
Well, maybe this will help you out. It's a non-physical, supernatural particle, and that's all.
Wait, non-physical.
Yeah.
Give me a particle that's non-physical according to you.
Well, there isn't one that exists.
So
in the
you're
universe,
speculating again.
As are you.
No, I'm not.
I'm offering you a thought
I'm not.
exercise. As
In
you
fact,
offered me.
you agreed with me, so it's
I
not.
think, I think you're better off admitting that and then letting us progress.
Paul,
down
you
this
wish you won that point, but you didn't. Sorry. It doesn't work like
track. I
that.
think you're going to fall into my trap if we continue down your path.
I don't think you have any traps.
Let's fall down.
I think
let's continue.
you're getting trapped by your own traps, unfortunately.
Because you're saying.
You said non-physical when you don't even know what that non-physical is.
But I'm playing in your space. Do you
No,
see
you're
that?
not.
Because you have presented a non-physical thing.
Which is
You're saying the creator, the first mover.
yes.
I'm saying, what is your reaction to that if the first mover is nothing like the Islamic God?
Then you should tell me what it is then,
Why should the burden is not on me?
because you're the one making.
The burden most certainly
Actually,
is not on me.
in fact, you're the one who brought the term first mover, not me.
Yeah, because
So if you don't know what the term you're using,
because I was defining what you had just
no,
told.
but if you're not sure about the terms you're using, maybe you should redefine it.
Redefine what's the matter with the phrase first mover?
What's the matter? What is it? What is the characteristics of a first mover?
In the Kalam cosmological argument, it's just the thing
No,
that is first.
in your case.
That's where we are. We're in the
Okay.
Kalam.
So what I'm saying is, I use the term something or someone.
Sure.
Yes. Because I'm saying that everything that begins to exist, like the universe, must have a cause.
Yeah.
Okay. If you dispute that, then you should tell me why. But we have moved on from that, and I've said that this first mover, if you want to call it first mover, that's fine with me, must have certain characteristics, which proves to us
Yeah.
that it cannot itself be dependent on something else, and it certainly is a first mover. And one of the things is that it has to be eternal. It cannot then have the problem with like the infinite regress, where you have the first mover, then the one before that, and the one before that, and so on.
Turtles on
Because
the ground.
if it was infinite regress, then we wouldn't exist. The universe wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
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 So we have to give it certain characteristics of this first mover
Yeah.
or this independent supernatural thing
Yeah.
or being. Yeah. Then we have to use certain characteristics, and one of them is that it is eternal. It is obviously has a will.
That's not obvious. That does not follow.
I'll tell you why. Because in order to create something, you wouldn't require a will.
That's not true.
Give me an example of otherwise.
Combustion.
What about combustion? Where does it come from?
Gas. If you have a gas that gets hot enough, it will combust. There's no will there.
Yeah, but the combustion is because of there's a cost to it.
But that's circular reasoning in your case.
No, it's
because
not.
You're assuming what you've
It's
just
not, because what you're doing is you're looking at a certain chemical reaction. Am I right?
Yeah.
So you need those factors.
This is, of course, an analogy.
Yeah. Again, you're using an analogy from within the universe.
Because we
You keep
exist,
doing that. You know why? Because you cannot think outside it.
and neither can you, my friend.
Actually, I did already. I said it cannot be nothing. It cannot create itself. Then the characteristics of.
Okay. Just as I was willing to concede a definitional point to you at the beginning, I wonder if you'll concede.
Actually,
a
you had no
definitional
choice.
point here.
You had no choice.
And I wonder if you have.
Because
no choice
nothing,
here.
absolute nothingness, is actually.
Would you agree that you exist in the universe?
I do.
Would you agree that every piece of your being that makes up you right here physically
Yeah.
is of the universe?
Of the universe? Well,
Yeah.
define that.
It's part of the universe. It's part of the physical universe, right? You're made
It's,
of,
yeah, it is part of the physical, but it's not made of the physical universe. Because, like I said, I have consciousness, which is
Right.
not physical.
Which you don't know that though. That's
I know.
You're
You had no
claiming
answer to that.
Knowledge on that.
We already discussed this. You had no answer to that.
That's
Consciousness.
not true. My answer was you're
Okay,
claiming.
are you conscious?
Probably.
You have to think about that seriously.
Yeah.
So, whom am I talking to? AI?
I said probably.
No, but what do you mean probably? You're not sure?
I'm pretty sure.
So, why are you saying probably then? Because probably doesn't mean sure.
Well, attempting to avoid a certain hubris that I'm worrying you're falling into.
Go on. You keep saying I'm getting trapped, but every time you fell into your own trap.
You're
Like probably and.
I don't mean to be.
Sure, I'm sure about it.
I don't mean to be too aggressive about this, but you're missing my point.
Which is?
Which is you're claiming knowledge about something that you don't need to claim knowledge about.
I said we're using inference.
You're saying
we're using logic. We're using rationality.
Consciousness must be immaterial. That's what you said.
Can you prove it otherwise?
Can you prove that?
Well, you can't. That's why it's called the hard problem of consciousness.
Yeah, but why claim knowledge? That's the question.
Because consciousness is something which is from not the physical world.
But why claim you know that?
Well, you can prove it otherwise, then show it to me. No scientist out there will be able to prove this because it's beyond the scope of naturalistic science.
What if I say the Earth is shaped like a donut? Prove me wrong. And if you can't prove me wrong, it's true.
Okay. Have people...
right?
Wait. Why is it that I have to prove everything? Will you rely...
My friend gets it.
No.
You've just admitted
Paul, let me finish. Let me finish. Have you done every experiment in science?
I have not.
Has any scientist done every experiment in science? They rely on testimony, right?
Right.
I rely on testimony. Thank you. That's my case.
I think, you see
the penny dropped?
No.
Yes, it did.
Because
no scientist will ever conduct every single experiment. They have to rely on... By the way, do you agree that testimony is part of evidence?
You have to let me respond to what you
go on.
Because you just said that because I made a ridiculous claim that the Earth is shaped like a donut, the burden of proof is on me to prove it. You've been making claims that are not immediately and inevitably and inherently obvious, which means the burden of proof, like you said it was on me for Donut Earth, it is on you for everything
what
you've been
proof
talking about.
Did I not prove to you that the Earth is not donut shaped? Were you listening?
You did not prove that.
What did I answer? Let's see if you were listening.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does, because if you're not listening, then it does matter.
No.
What was my answer?
The burden of proof.
What did I answer to you, Paul?
You're scared of the burden.
Paul, what did I answer?
You're scared of the burden.
See, he wasn't listening. Let me repeat the answer.
No, you said that no scientist has done everything.
No, that wasn't my answer. What was my answer?
You said...
Okay, let me repeat again. That's fine. Look, sometimes
I think this has lost an element of seriousness.
No, it is not.
You're ignoring the burden of proof.
Okay, shall I tell you why you're wrong?
Please.
Okay, I said I believe in the testimony of scientists.
Yeah.
Did I not say that?
Yes.
Okay, now if the scientists have seen, the ones who have seen the Earth is not donut-shaped, physically seen, yes, then that testimony is reliable because they are legitimate scientists and their testimony is reliable.
Right.
One of the major evidences presented in court is testimony. So testimony doesn't mean it has to be physically proven.
Right.
It can be the suggestion, or it can be somebody's, theory even.
Yeah.
If they are a credible scientist, then they'll take that testimony as true. Now, if you wait,
they won't
using
theory as true.
well, theories are, the evolution theory.
They won't. There's a difference between a thesis you're setting out with.
I said theory.
Theory you're setting out
I
with.
said theory.
Right.
A theory is proven.
Versus something that you've. Well, it's hard to say if anything's proven.
A theory is peer-reviewed. That's why it has reached the status of theory.
Yeah.
So you're arguing for no reason. I don't know why every time.
Right. This is semantics.
Bro, it's not semantics. Come on.
Yeah. What you're, and I think we're walking in circles here.
No, we are not.
I think we are.
I think your donut has been crushed and eaten. Now let's move on.
Because it doesn't matter.
Actually, I responded to you very coherently with regards to evidence using testimony of scientists. Yeah. I don't know why you would deny that, because no scientist has ever conducted every experiment. They have to rely on other scientists.
Now say everything you just said, but about your argument.
Okay, about my argument?
Yes.
Which you've already, so you've agreed so far, absolutely.
No.
It's on camera.
About the argument you're presenting.
Yeah. It's a cosmological argument.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, no, about consciousness. Because I asked you, why are you claiming knowledge about consciousness being immaterial? I'm saying you, in the same way that I presented the ridiculous donut Earth argument, you're presenting something that can be, that is an unknowable thing.
Actually, all scientists agree with this. It's not physical. If you can bring any scientist who
That is not true.
Okay, bring me any.
They all agree that it's immaterial?
Yes.
They don't all agree with it.
Okay, give me one scientist who says it's material. Go on.
Sam Harris.
Sorry?
Sam Harris.
Okay, what did he say?
He's a neuroscientist.
What did he say?
He says, first of all,
Did he say consciousness is material?
No.
Thank you. I'll rest my case.
Yeah, but you're...
Paul, every time you try to trap me, you get trapped by your own scientist.
You're appealing to ignorance, my friend.
No, you're appealing to Sam Harris and you fail badly.
No, because you're saying that because we don't know something, it must be
I'm
what
saying,
you believe.
no, wait. I'm
That's
saying,
what you've been saying this whole time,
I'm
my
saying
friend.
based on the testimony of all the credible scientists out there,
Yeah.
if anyone has claimed that consciousness is material, then the onus is on you because I think this is axiomatic, that consciousness is not material. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the hard problem of consciousness. Let's move on. Come on, let's go to the argument, the
But
Kalam
you-
cosmology argument,
you
because
don't wanna
you're
deal with the burden of proof.
you keep
That's
saying
the
that.
whole
Look, I'll
issue.
tell you what. Let the people decide.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Sure.
Good. So now with regards to,
We've been here a long time, huh?
you want
We've
to
been
leave?
here an hour.
You can leave if you want.
I'll hear
I'll not compel you against your...
I'll hear your final point. And
Okay.
then we'll part ways as friends.
No, of course, we are friends. I never said we were anything
Yeah.
other than that, okay? I'm saying that using inference, we can come to the conclusion that the universe had a cause, and this cause has certain characteristics, like being eternal, like being, it has to have a will. The reason I said that is because we see creation, we see the universe existing. This must have come from someone who had a will to create it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have able to bring it into existence. So there are certain characters, and if you look at all these characteristics, it fits with what in Islam we say Allah or God Almighty, and similarly in Abrahamic faith, like in Christianity, in Judaism, and other faiths as well. Now, maybe many agnostic and atheists don't like the term God. Yes, you can call it the first mover, you can call it the supernatural being, that's fine. But the thing is, if you look around you, you see design in everything, including yourself, including those glasses, including the trees here. And if you see design, then surely there must be a designer. And this is, again, based on inference, based on what we observe around us. Now, if you see design in every single leaf, forget about every single leaf, every single cell in the leaf, and every single atom and molecule that you see around, there's a design in everything. From the very microscopic to the galaxies and the universe itself, to the macroscopic. Yeah, and this shows us that the designer is intelligent, able to create these things. Okay, I know you're smiling, but if you don't have any other answer other than appealing to ignorance,
this would get us into another hour, I think.
Yeah, I have the
Because it's a
time. Do
different
you?
argument. I do not, unfortunately.
All right,
I've
Paul.
enjoyed talking.
Anyway, thanks for your time.
Because it's
Appreciate it.
It's the problem with the watchmaker.
It's not really, but
Who
go.
Who creates the watchmaker?
Yeah, I don't think the
It's same-
KCA comes in the
Is it
watchmaker.
not turtles all the way down once again?
No, it's not. Anyway,
I've had a good time. What's your name again?
Hashim.
Hashim.
Yeah.
I'm Paul.
Paul,
Good
take
to
care.
meet you. Good to talk to you.
Next time we discuss Mormonism, your faith which you didn't want to. Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.